What if feeding a big family didn't mean stretching every dollar or cutting corners? For generations, the Amish have mastered the art of turning simple, affordable ingredients into hearty meals that satisfy everyone at the table. These 30 timeless tricks prove that you can eat well, save money, and keep bellies full without modern shortcuts. Cooking big with simple staples. 4 basic ingredients sit in every Amish pantry like faithful friends. Flour, beans, oats, and potatoes form the foundation of countless meals that feed large families without emptying wallets. These humble staples cost pennies per pound when bought in bulk quantities. The old saying goes, a fancy kitchen needs fancy ingredients, but a smart kitchen needs smart ingredients. Building meals around these basics allows families to stretch expensive items like meat much further. 1 pound of ground beef mixed with beans and oats can feed 12 people instead of just 4. The beans provide protein while oats add heartiness that keeps everyone satisfied longer. Potatoes transform into breakfast hash, lunch soup, and dinner casseroles using the same versatile ingredient. Smart families never run out of these essentials because they understand that running out means running to expensive stores for costly alternatives. When stored properly in cool, dry places, these staples last months without spoiling or losing nutritional value, making them the most reliable investment any large family can make for long-term food security. Baking bread every day. Fresh bread emerges from Amish ovens every morning before the rooster crows, filling homes with warmth while saving families hundreds of dollars annually compared to store-bought loaves. The aroma signals another day of smart homemaking that transforms simple ingredients into daily necessities. Flour, yeast, water, salt, and sometimes honey create this morning miracle that feeds entire households. Multiple loaves bake at once because heating the oven for just 1 loaf wastes precious fuel and time. Day-old bread never reaches the trash can because it transforms into bread pudding, stuffing, or breadcrumbs for coating fried foods. Some mothers deliberately bake extra, knowing they'll need these ingredients later in the week. The process takes planning and early rising, but the savings add up quickly throughout the year. A typical family spends over $400 yearly on commercial bread, while homemade versions cost less than $50 for the same amount. This difference buys winter coats for children or funds other essential household needs that stretch tight budgets even further across multiple seasons. Amish bulk buying habits. 50-pound bags of flour stack like building blocks in Amish pantries, representing a completely different approach to grocery shopping. These families understand that buying wholesale quantities lasting months costs significantly less than weekly trips for small packages that quickly disappear. 20 pounds of sugar purchased at once costs half as much per pound as buying it in small bags over time. One visitor asked why so much flour was needed. The quick reply came, "Have you ever tried feeding 8 growing boys with a 5-pound bag? It disappears faster than morning dew in summer heat." Coordination makes these massive purchases possible through community cooperation that benefits everyone involved. Several families combine their orders to buy directly from mills and suppliers, sharing enormous quantities while everyone enjoys wholesale pricing that individual families could never access. Storage becomes crucial with these volumes, so families invest in sealed containers, wooden barrels, and proper pantry spaces that protect their investment from moisture and pests throughout changing seasons. The initial cost seems overwhelming, but families recover their investment within months through dramatically reduced grocery bills. This approach eliminates middleman markups while ensuring families never run short of essential ingredients during busy seasons when shopping trips become nearly impossible to manage. Homegrown vegetables. Gardens stretch behind Amish homes like green carpets of future meals, representing months of planning and years of soil improvement. Every square foot produces multiple harvests when properly planned and maintained throughout growing seasons that dictate family eating patterns. Rows of corn, beans, tomatoes, and carrots provide fresh food while drastically reducing grocery expenses that burden most families throughout the year. Children learn gardening alongside parents, understanding that each planted seed represents money saved and nutrition gained for the entire household. The variety rivals any supermarket while costing only seeds, time, and dedicated labor throughout growing seasons. Tomatoes become sauces and soups, cabbage transforms into sauerkraut, and root vegetables store naturally without expensive preservation methods or equipment. Even herbs grown near kitchen windows provide seasoning that eliminates frequent store trips for small, overpriced packages that quickly empty household budgets. Families with productive gardens reduce food expenses by thousands annually while enjoying fresher, more nutritious produce than commercial alternatives can provide. The investment in soil improvement, tools, and seeds pays dividends throughout multiple growing seasons. Amish canning traditions. Summer transforms Amish kitchens into bustling factories where families preserve seasonal abundance that will sustain them through harsh winter months. Glass jars line shelves as mothers and daughters work together, processing vegetables, fruits, and complete meals for long-term storage. The entire community approaches canning as essential preparation rather than optional hobby that might be abandoned when life gets busy. The old wisdom states, "One hot day of canning beats 100 cold days of wishing you had prepared better for winter." Professional equipment lasts decades with proper care and maintenance, making the initial investment worthwhile for families committed to long-term food preservation strategies. Multiple generations collaborate during peak harvest periods, with experienced hands teaching proper techniques for safe preservation that prevents spoilage and foodborne illness. The variety preserved includes simple green beans, complex soup mixtures, and everything imaginable between these extremes. Pressure canners allow families to preserve low-acid foods safely, while water bath methods handle fruits and pickled vegetables with different preservation requirements. Properly canned foods maintain quality for years, providing security during difficult economic periods when grocery store prices become prohibitive. Families who master preservation techniques reduce winter grocery expenses dramatically while enjoying garden-fresh flavors when store prices peak during cold months that stretch household budgets. The only product we'll ever promote on our channel is a book by Claude Davis, a veteran prepper, about 126 superfoods and preservation methods from crisis times like the Great Depression and wartime that are impossible to find elsewhere. We decided to promote his book because we are the last generation able to share these techniques and superfoods to our children or grandchildren. It would be a shame to see this information about highly nutritious foods and preservation methods to survive crises disappear. You can also find a book about herbal remedies from Nicole Apelian on their store. If you're watching this on TV, you can look up our channel, Frugal Solutions, on your phone or tablet and find the books by clicking the link in our channel description or any other video description. Root cellar storage. Underground chambers provide natural refrigeration that never loses power or increases electric bills, representing centuries of practical wisdom applied to food storage challenges. These ingenious structures maintain temperatures between 32 and 40 degrees throughout winter months, creating perfect conditions for storing root vegetables, apples, and preserved foods. Traditional Amish construction methods ensure these storage systems function reliably for generations of families. Proper construction requires understanding drainage, ventilation, and insulation principles that prevent spoilage while maintaining optimal storage conditions. But finished cellars serve families for decades without major maintenance requirements. Thick walls insulate contents from surface temperature changes, while ventilation systems prevent moisture buildup that causes rapid spoilage of stored foods. Potatoes remain fresh for 8 months, onions cure naturally while hanging in mesh bags, and apples maintain crispness throughout winter months when fresh produce becomes expensive and limited. Families with functioning root cellars rarely purchase fresh produce during winter, saving hundreds of dollars that get allocated toward other necessities like clothing, tools, and household improvements. The construction cost gets recovered quickly through reduced grocery expenses, making root cellars one of the smartest investments budget-conscious families can make. Cooking once, eating twice. Large pots bubble on Amish stoves while smart cooks plan tomorrow's meals alongside today's dinner, understanding that efficient cooking saves both time and money. Strategic cooking produces multiple meals rather than single servings that require daily preparation, time, and energy that could be spent on other essential tasks. This approach transforms kitchen work from daily drudgery into strategic meal planning that benefits entire households. The wise saying reminds us, make one pot work harder than a farmer during harvest season, and you'll have more time for everything else that matters. Leftover transformations require creativity, but yield impressive results when properly executed with planning and imagination. Sunday's pot roast becomes Monday's hash with added potatoes and onions from previous meals that would otherwise spoil. Tuesday's soup incorporates vegetables that might otherwise be wasted, while Wednesday's casserole uses remaining meat portions from earlier cooking sessions throughout the week. This systematic approach ensures nothing edible reaches the compost pile while providing variety that keeps family members interested in their meals rather than complaining about repetitive food. The time savings alone justifies this method during busy seasons when families need every available hour for essential farm work, household maintenance, and community obligations. Efficient cooks understand that planning ahead reduces daily stress while maximizing value extracted from expensive ingredients. The Amish Soup Night. One enormous pot feeds 12 hungry people using ingredients that barely satisfy half that number in individual portions, demonstrating how traditional cooking methods maximize limited resources. Soup making transforms small amounts of expensive ingredients into filling meals through clever use of vegetables, grains, and legumes that expand significantly during cooking processes. Substance matters more than sophistication in these practical kitchens where feeding families takes priority over impressing guests. Chicken soup begins with bones and scraps most modern cooks discard without thinking, but slow simmering extracts every bit of flavor and nutrition from overlooked parts that contain valuable nutrients. Vegetables add bulk and essential vitamins, while noodles contribute carbohydrates that make meals satisfying rather than just temporarily filling. Bean soups require overnight soaking and long cooking times, but provide complete proteins at costs rivaling the cheapest meat options available in stores. A single well-made pot feeds entire families while leaving enough for next day's packed lunches that sustain workers through demanding physical labor. The key lies in understanding how different ingredients behave during extended cooking, allowing experienced cooks to create hearty meals from humble beginnings that satisfy both hungry appetites and tight household budgets. Stretching meat the Amish way. Expensive meat becomes affordable when treated as seasoning rather than the main attraction in family meals, allowing households to enjoy protein regularly without devastating their food budgets. Small amounts provide rich flavors that make simple dishes satisfying without requiring large cuts that strain finances. Traditional techniques involve chopping meat into tiny pieces that distribute throughout entire dishes rather than serving individual portions to each family member. A common observation notes, it's not about the size of the meat portion, it's about the size of the flavor it creates throughout the entire meal. Gravies and sauces benefit enormously from small meat quantities that provide depth and richness without dominating dishes financially or nutritionally. Ground meat mixed carefully with vegetables and grains creates filling casseroles using only 1 pound of expensive protein to feed large families adequately. Slow cooking methods extract maximum flavor from tough, inexpensive cuts that become tender and delicious after hours of gentle simmering with vegetables and seasonings. This approach allows families to enjoy meat regularly without spending disproportionate amounts on protein sources that could bankrupt household food budgets. The money saved gets redirected toward other meal components or household necessities that improve overall living standards while maintaining satisfying, nutritious meals that keep everyone healthy and content throughout changing seasons. Amish Egg Magic. Backyard chickens provide daily protein sources that cost nothing beyond initial setup expenses and ongoing feed costs that pale compared to store prices. A small flock produces enough fresh eggs to supply large families with breakfast protein, essential baking ingredients, and dinner components throughout the entire year. Fresh eggs taste significantly better than store-bought alternatives while providing superior nutrition from chickens enjoying natural diets and outdoor exercise. Eggs serve multiple functions beyond simple breakfast preparations that most people associate with this incredibly versatile ingredient that appears in countless recipes. Custards and puddings use eggs as thickening agents, creating satisfying desserts from inexpensive milk and sugar that children love. Pickled eggs preserve excess production during peak laying seasons, while providing protein-rich snacks lasting weeks without refrigeration or special storage requirements. Egg salad sandwiches combine hard-boiled eggs with homemade mayonnaise, creating filling lunches costing pennies per serving compared to commercial alternatives. The shells even find uses as calcium-rich garden amendments that improve soil health for next year's vegetable crops, ensuring nothing gets wasted. Families with productive flocks reduce protein expenses dramatically while enjoying fresher, more nutritious options than any commercial alternatives can provide. Simple but filling breakfasts. Morning meals prioritize substance over convenience in Amish households, providing sustained energy that supports hard physical labor throughout demanding workdays that begin before dawn. Oatmeal cooked slowly with fresh milk creates creamy porridge costing less than commercial cereals while providing superior nutrition and lasting satisfaction. Fried potatoes seasoned with onions and herbs transform leftover vegetables into hearty dishes that fuel farm work until lunch. The truth remains simple. When you milk the cow and grow the oats yourself, sugar-coated cardboard from the store loses its appeal pretty quickly. Cornbread fresh from wood-fired ovens provides essential carbohydrates and comforting warmth during cold mornings when families begin chores before sunrise illuminates their work. Coffee made from freshly ground beans offers the only luxury most families allow during breakfast time, but costs significantly less than commercial coffee shop alternatives that drain household budgets unnecessarily. These simple combinations provide complete nutrition while costing fractions of packaged breakfast products many families consider essential for modern living. The emphasis on homemade items ensures breakfast expenses remain minimal while supporting energy needs of people performing demanding physical labor from dawn until dusk throughout changing seasons. Traditional breakfasts also teach children to appreciate simple, wholesome foods rather than developing preferences for expensive processed alternatives that provide questionable nutritional value. Noodles and dumplings. Homemade pasta transforms simple flour and eggs into filling meal components that stretch expensive ingredients across multiple servings for large families. Fresh noodles require only basic ingredients and traditional techniques that even children can master with proper supervision and patient instruction. The time-honored process involves rolling dough into thin sheets, cutting strips to desired widths, then drying thoroughly before cooking or long-term storage in airtight containers. Dumplings dropped into simmering soups absorb rich flavors while adding substantial carbohydrates that make small amounts of meat and vegetables satisfying for hungry families working hard throughout long days. These simple additions cost pennies per serving while transforming thin broths into hearty meals, providing lasting satisfaction that sustains energy levels. Experienced cooks prepare large batches during quiet periods when time allows, storing them in airtight containers where they remain fresh for weeks without spoiling. This advanced preparation saves valuable time during busy seasons, while ensuring filling meal components stay readily available when needed most. The technique requires practice to achieve proper consistency and texture, but families who master pasta production reduce carbohydrate expenses significantly while enjoying fresher flavors and better nutrition than any commercially produced alternatives can provide. Amish garden salads. Fresh salads provide essential vitamins and minerals while costing almost nothing when ingredients come directly from backyard gardens rather than expensive grocery store produce sections. Daily harvesting ensures peak freshness and maximum flavor while eliminating transportation costs and packaging expenses that significantly increase commercial produce prices. Simple leaf lettuce grows quickly in cool weather conditions, providing multiple harvests from single plantings when properly managed. An old saying reminds us, the only thing better than free salad from the garden is knowing exactly which chicken helped fertilize it throughout the growing season. Homemade dressings combine fresh cream, vinegar, and herbs into flavorful accompaniments that enhance rather than mask the natural flavors of garden-fresh vegetables picked at peak ripeness. These simple preparations cost significantly less than commercial dressings while avoiding artificial preservatives and chemical additives many families prefer eliminating from their diets entirely. Radishes and onions add sharp, distinctive flavors that complement mild lettuce while providing additional nutrients supporting overall health and wellness. The key lies in harvesting at optimal times when vegetables contain peak nutrition and flavor rather than waiting too long and losing quality. Families with productive gardens enjoy fresh salads throughout growing seasons while spending virtually nothing on ingredients that would otherwise require regular grocery purchases. Even winter greenhouse growing extends fresh salad availability during cold months when store prices become prohibitive. Seasonal eating the Amish way. Natural food cycles provide variety and optimal nutrition while eliminating the significant expenses of out-of-season produce requiring costly transportation and specialized storage methods. Spring brings tender greens and early vegetables that taste best when consumed immediately after harvesting rather than after weeks of commercial storage and long-distance shipping. Following nature's rhythm creates anticipation and excitement around seasonal favorites that commercial food systems cannot replicate. Summer abundance offers countless opportunities to preserve peak flavor produce for winter consumption when fresh options become severely limited and prohibitively expensive for most families. Fall harvests provide root vegetables and storage crops that maintain excellent quality throughout winter months without requiring expensive preservation methods or energy-consuming refrigerated storage systems. Winter meals emphasize preserved foods and carefully stored vegetables while anticipating spring's return with planning for next year's garden improvements and expansions. This natural approach creates genuine excitement around seasonal favorites while ensuring families never pay premium prices for inferior out-of-season alternatives that lack both flavor and nutrition. Following these natural cycles reduces grocery expenses substantially while providing superior nutrition and flavor compared to commercially produced options that prioritize shelf life over taste and nutritional content. Sweet savings with Amish desserts. Homemade desserts satisfy sweet cravings using inexpensive ingredients most families already maintain in their pantries for other cooking purposes throughout the year. Fruit pies utilize garden produce or foraged berries combined with simple pastry made from flour, lard, and water that costs pennies per serving compared to bakery alternatives. Traditional desserts provide satisfying meal conclusions while avoiding expensive commercial sweets that offer inferior flavors and questionable ingredients. A simple truth emerges. The difference between homemade pie and store-bought versions involves about $3 and the guarantee you can pronounce every ingredient without needing a chemistry degree. Traditional recipes demonstrate how creative cooks transform basic pantry staples into beloved treats that satisfy entire families without requiring expensive or exotic ingredients from specialty stores. Molasses provides distinctive sweetness and rich flavor, while flour creates substantial filling that makes small portions genuinely satisfying rather than leaving people craving more expensive alternatives. Bread puddings use day-old bread that might otherwise be wasted, transforming it into comforting desserts that provide warmth and satisfaction during cold winter evenings when comfort food becomes especially important. These traditional approaches reduce household expenses while creating treats that become cherished family memories rather than quickly forgotten commercial products. The skills and recipes pass between generations, ensuring families always have access to affordable sweets that compete favorably with expensive store-bought alternatives in both taste and satisfaction. Community sharing of food. Neighborly cooperation creates informal food networks that benefit everyone involved while dramatically reducing individual family expenses through strategic sharing and mutually beneficial trading arrangements. Excess garden produce finds eager recipients among neighbors whose crops may have failed or produced insufficient quantities for adequate winter storage needs. This traditional system operates on trust and long-term reciprocity rather than immediate monetary transactions that complicate relationships. Families with dairy cows share fresh milk with neighbors who provide eggs, vegetables, or essential labor in return for this valuable commodity that spoils quickly without proper refrigeration systems. These arrangements work particularly well during peak production periods when individual families cannot consume entire outputs before inevitable spoilage occurs despite best efforts. Sharing surplus reduces waste while providing dietary variety that no single family could achieve independently through their own production efforts. Community cooperation extends to bulk purchasing arrangements where multiple families combine their orders to achieve wholesale pricing on items that no single household could afford or store effectively alone. These collaborative approaches reduce individual expenses while strengthening essential social bonds that support families during inevitable difficult periods when individual resources prove insufficient. The system succeeds because everyone contributes according to their abilities while receiving according to their genuine needs. Amish dairy economy. Fresh dairy products from family cows provide multiple food sources while completely eliminating the ongoing expenses of purchasing milk, butter, cheese, and cream from increasingly expensive commercial sources. A single productive cow yields several gallons of rich milk daily, far exceeding most families' immediate consumption needs, while creating valuable opportunities for processing into various dairy products that extend shelf life significantly. This comprehensive approach requires substantial initial investment and daily commitment, but provides remarkable long-term savings. The old joke persists: the cow got named economics because she always produced reliable dividends and never experienced a market crash like other investments. Butter churning transforms excess cream into valuable cooking fat that improves flavor dramatically while providing essential nutrients that support demanding physical labor throughout long working days. Cheesemaking preserves milk nutrients in concentrated forms that store well without refrigeration, while providing protein sources that perfectly complement vegetable-based meals throughout winter months when fresh options become limited. Even buttermilk finds important uses in baking applications, where its natural acidity creates tender textures in pancakes, biscuits, and other beloved baked goods. The processing skills pass carefully between generations, ensuring families maintain complete food independence while enjoying fresher, more nutritious products than commercial alternatives can provide. Proper dairy management provides year-round nutrition security while generating valuable surplus that can be shared with neighbors or sold for additional income during particularly difficult economic periods. Cooking with lard and drippings. Animal fats provide exceptionally flavorful cooking mediums while utilizing valuable byproducts that might otherwise be wasted during meat processing and preparation activities. Bacon grease collected during breakfast cooking adds rich, distinctive flavors to vegetables, eggs, and other dishes throughout the day, while eliminating needs for expensive cooking oils that provide less flavor and inferior nutrition. These traditional fats remain stable at room temperature, eliminating storage concerns while providing superior cooking results. Lard rendered from pork fat creates ideal conditions for frying foods while producing crispy textures that modern vegetable oils cannot match despite aggressive marketing claims and premium pricing strategies. These natural fats provide essential nutrients that support health and sustained energy levels while adding satisfying richness that makes simple foods feel indulgent rather than austere or restrictive. Nothing edible gets discarded when families understand how to process and utilize every component of their food sources effectively and completely. This comprehensive approach significantly reduces waste while maximizing nutritional value and flavor from ingredients that require substantial time, effort, and money to produce or purchase. Traditional methods of using every part of food sources ensures maximum return on investment while maintaining the rich, satisfying flavors that transform simple meals into truly memorable dining experiences. Feeding kids the Amish way. Children eat identical meals as adults in Amish households, completely eliminating the expenses and complexity of preparing separate dishes that cater to picky eating habits or perceived preferences. This unified approach dramatically reduces cooking time, ingredient costs, and kitchen cleanup while teaching children from early ages to appreciate diverse flavors and textures. Simple, substantial foods like mashed potatoes, fresh bread, and hearty vegetable soups provide complete nutrition without requiring expensive specialty items. A common response to questions about children's food preferences remains, whatever's on the table when they're hungry enough, because hunger provides the best seasoning available anywhere. Large cooking pots easily accommodate entire families while creating significant economies of scale that reduce per-person costs dramatically compared to individual portion preparation methods that waste time and ingredients. Children learn to appreciate homegrown vegetables, fresh dairy products, and homemade breads rather than developing expensive preferences for processed foods that strain household budgets while providing questionable nutrition. This approach completely eliminates food battles and negotiations while ensuring children receive adequate nutrition that supports healthy growth and development throughout their formative years. The system teaches children that food serves as fuel for work and growth rather than entertainment or emotional comfort that leads to unhealthy relationships with eating. Families maintaining unified meal approaches spend significantly less on groceries while raising children who genuinely appreciate simple, wholesome foods rather than demanding expensive commercial alternatives that provide minimal nutritional benefits. Homemade Amish snacks. Simple ingredients transform into beloved treats that replace expensive packaged snacks in Amish households. Popcorn kernels cost pennies per bowl compared to commercial varieties loaded with artificial flavors and preservatives. The traditional approach involves heating oil in large pots, adding kernels, and covering until the magical popping stops completely. The old saying goes, store-bought snacks are like fancy hats on chickens, expensive, unnecessary, and the chicken looks foolish wearing them. Fried dough becomes a special treat using basic bread ingredients mixed with a bit of sugar and shaped into small portions before frying in hot lard. Pretzels rolled by hand create satisfying snacks that children love while costing almost nothing to produce in large batches. These homemade alternatives provide better nutrition than commercial snacks while teaching children to appreciate simple pleasures rather than demanding expensive branded products. Families who master snack preparation save hundreds annually while providing healthier options that actually satisfy hunger rather than creating cravings for more processed foods. The skills pass easily between generations, ensuring children learn to create their own entertainment and treats rather than depending on expensive store purchases that drain household budgets unnecessarily. Amish work lunches. Fuel hard physical labor without requiring expensive convenience foods or frequent restaurant visits that drain household budgets. Simple combinations of fresh bread, homemade cheese, and pie slices provide sustained energy throughout demanding workdays. The Amish understand that substantial food maintains energy levels better than light snacks that leave workers hungry and unproductive. Leftovers from previous evening meals often find their way into lunch pails, ensuring nothing edible gets wasted while providing variety in daily meal routines. Cold roast beef sandwiches made with yesterday's dinner create filling midday meals costing pennies compared to commercial alternatives. Hard-boiled eggs provide protein that sustains energy through afternoon work sessions while costing almost nothing to produce from backyard flocks. The simplicity eliminates morning preparation time while ensuring workers receive adequate nutrition to maintain productivity throughout long days of physical labor. These practical lunches demonstrate how planning ahead reduces both expenses and daily stress while supporting the demanding work schedules that sustain traditional farming operations and household maintenance throughout changing seasons and weather conditions. Seasonal Amish drinks. Hot cider warms Amish families during cold winter evenings while costing a fraction of commercial beverages that provide inferior nutrition and artificial flavors. Summer brings homemade lemonade made from real lemons, sugar, and well water that refreshes better than any store-bought alternative. The seasonal approach ensures families enjoy appropriate beverages while avoiding year-round expenses for unnecessary luxury items. A visitor once asked why there were no sodas in the house. The reply came quickly, "We prefer drinks that don't require a chemistry degree to pronounce the ingredients. Milk-based drinks provide essential nutrients while using surplus dairy production that might otherwise spoil without proper utilization. Fresh milk mixed with honey creates satisfying bedtime drinks that promote restful sleep after demanding physical labor. Herbal teas made from garden-grown herbs provide medicinal benefits while costing nothing beyond the initial seed investment and seasonal care. The variety changes with seasons, creating anticipation and preventing boredom with repetitive beverage choices throughout the year. These natural drinks provide superior hydration and nutrition compared to commercial alternatives while eliminating ongoing expenses that can quickly accumulate into significant household budget drains. The traditional knowledge of beverage preparation ensures families always have appropriate drinks available regardless of weather conditions or seasonal limitations. Foraging the Amish way. Wild berries, nuts, and edible plants supplement household food supplies while providing free nutrition that reduces grocery expenses throughout growing seasons. The Amish tradition of foraging teaches families to recognize valuable food sources that most people overlook completely. Blackberries growing along fence rows provide fruit for pies, jams, and fresh eating without requiring cultivation, fertilization, or pest control measures. Walnut trees drop nuts that provide protein and healthy fats throughout winter months when other food sources become expensive and limited. Wild greens like dandelion leaves add nutrition to early spring meals when gardens have not yet begun producing fresh vegetables. Mushroom hunting requires expertise to avoid dangerous varieties, but experienced foragers know which species provide safe, delicious additions to family meals. The knowledge passes between generations through careful instruction and supervised gathering expeditions that teach children to identify valuable wild foods safely. This ancient practice reduces grocery bills while connecting families to natural food sources that remain available regardless of economic conditions or seasonal weather patterns. Foraging also provides outdoor activity that strengthens family bonds while teaching valuable survival skills that serve families well during difficult economic periods. Amish butchering days. Annual butchering provides families with months of meat while eliminating ongoing expenses for commercial protein sources that continue rising in price. The Amish approach involves careful planning and community cooperation to process entire animals efficiently without waste. Timing usually occurs during cool weather when meat preservation becomes easier and more reliable without refrigeration. The community joke states, "Butchering day brings everyone together. Some to work, others to make sure the work gets done properly, and a few to supervise the supervisors." Smoking, salting, and careful preservation methods ensure meat remains safe and flavorful throughout extended storage periods without requiring expensive freezing equipment or ongoing electrical costs. Different cuts receive appropriate preservation treatments based on their characteristics and intended uses throughout coming months. Sausage making utilizes smaller pieces and scraps that might otherwise be wasted, creating valuable protein sources that store well and provide convenient meal components. The community aspect reduces individual family workloads while ensuring everyone receives fair portions based on their contributions to the overall effort. Families participating in butchering operations secure protein sources for months while building relationships that support them during other challenging periods throughout the year. The traditional knowledge ensures proper food safety while maximizing nutritional value from valuable animal protein sources. Preserving every bit. Nothing edible enters the compost pile in Amish kitchens, where waste represents lost money and disrespect for God's provisions. Cabbage cores that most cooks discard become soup bases that provide flavor and nutrients for hearty winter meals. Stale bread transforms into stuffing, bread pudding, or breadcrumbs rather than being thrown away unnecessarily. Chicken bones simmer into rich broths that serve as foundations for numerous soup varieties throughout the week following the original meal. Vegetable peelings become compost that enriches next year's garden soil, completing natural cycles that benefit long-term food production. Even apple cores and peels find uses in making vinegar or feeding livestock that provide milk, eggs, and meat for family consumption. The comprehensive approach requires planning and creativity, but eliminates waste while maximizing value from every food purchase or garden harvest. Families who master waste reduction techniques stretch their food budget significantly further while developing habits that serve them well during economic hardships, when every penny counts toward family survival. The skills also teach children to value resources and understand the true cost of waste in terms of family finances and environmental responsibility. Cheap Amish comfort food. Mashed potatoes, hearty dumplings, and rich gravies transform simple ingredients into satisfying meals that comfort families during difficult times while remaining affordable on tight budgets. These traditional comfort foods provide both physical and emotional satisfaction without requiring expensive ingredients or complicated preparation methods. The Amish understanding of comfort food emphasizes substance over sophistication, creating meals that genuinely satisfy rather than just temporarily filling empty stomachs. The truth remains, Fancy restaurants charge $20 for what Amish kitchens create with $2 worth of potatoes, milk, and butter. Gravy made from meat drippings, flour, and milk becomes the centerpiece that ties entire meals together while using ingredients that cost almost nothing compared to commercial sauces and flavor enhancers. These simple combinations provide complete nutrition while creating the satisfying feeling of abundance that helps families through challenging periods when money becomes extremely tight. The preparation methods remain simple enough for children to learn, ensuring these valuable skills pass to next generations who will face their own economic challenges. Comfort foods also serve important social functions during community gatherings where large quantities feed many people without straining host family budgets. The psychological benefits of familiar, satisfying foods cannot be underestimated during times when families need emotional support alongside physical nourishment to maintain morale and family unity. Amish seasonal feasts. Community celebrations utilize seasonal abundance to create memorable meals that cost less per person than individual family dinners while providing superior variety and satisfaction. Corn roasts during late summer harvest time bring neighbors together while processing large quantities efficiently for winter storage. These gatherings combine work with celebration, making necessary preservation tasks enjoyable social events that strengthen community bonds. Berry picking expeditions turn into impromptu picnics where families enjoy fresh fruit while gathering supplies for winter pies, jams, and preserves that will provide sweetness during cold months ahead. The communal approach reduces individual family workloads while ensuring everyone benefits from seasonal abundance regardless of their personal garden success or failure. Large-scale cooking during these events creates economies of scale that provide better meals at lower per-person costs than individual family efforts could achieve. Traditional feast foods emphasize seasonal ingredients at peak freshness and lowest cost, ensuring celebrations remain affordable while providing genuine abundance and variety. These events also preserve cultural traditions while teaching younger generations about seasonal eating patterns and community cooperation that sustain families through changing economic conditions and unpredictable weather patterns that affect food production. Leftovers into new dishes. Sunday's roast beef becomes Monday's hash when combined with leftover potatoes and onions, creating an entirely different meal that eliminates waste while providing variety. The Amish approach to leftover transformation requires creativity and planning, but produces impressive results that keep families interested in their meals rather than complaining about repetitive food. Each transformation feels like a new meal rather than reheated leftovers that lack appeal and satisfaction. The kitchen wisdom states, a creative cook never makes the same meal twice, even when using the same ingredients from yesterday's dinner. Extra vegetables find new life in soups, stews, and casseroles that combine multiple leftover components into cohesive meals that taste fresh and appealing. Meat portions too small for individual servings stretch into gravies and sauces that flavor entire meals while providing protein that might otherwise be insufficient for large families. The systematic approach ensures nothing edible gets wasted while maintaining meal variety that prevents food boredom and complaints from family members. Planning leftover transformations while cooking original meals saves time and mental energy during busy periods when meal planning becomes challenging due to other responsibilities and seasonal demands. Families who master leftover creativity reduce their grocery expenses significantly while developing cooking skills that serve them well throughout their lives, regardless of changing economic conditions or family circumstances that require flexible meal planning approaches. Making dairy stretch further. Single milk sources provide multiple food products through traditional processing methods that eliminate the need for numerous commercial dairy purchases throughout the year. Fresh milk becomes butter through simple churning processes that children can learn and perform during family work sessions. The leftover buttermilk finds uses in baking applications where its acidity creates tender textures in pancakes, biscuits, and other beloved baked goods that families enjoy regularly. Cheesemaking transforms surplus milk into concentrated protein sources that store well without refrigeration while providing variety in daily meal planning throughout seasons when fresh milk production varies due to natural cycles. Cream rises naturally to provide rich additions to coffee, baking recipes, and special occasion treats that would otherwise require expensive commercial purchases. Even whey left over from cheese making gets used in bread baking, where it improves texture and nutrition while reducing waste to absolute minimum levels. The processing skills require initial learning and practice, but provide families with complete dairy independence while ensuring maximum value from valuable milk production. Families with single cows can provide all their dairy needs throughout the year while generating surplus that can be shared with neighbors or sold for additional household income during difficult economic periods. Homemade Amish pantry staples. Basic condiments and flavoring agents cost significantly less when made at home using simple ingredients rather than purchased from stores in small, expensive containers. Mayonnaise requires only eggs, oil, and vinegar, but provides superior flavor and nutrition compared to commercial versions loaded with preservatives and artificial ingredients that many families prefer avoiding. The Amish tradition of making pantry staples ensures families always have necessary ingredients available while controlling both cost and quality. The old observation holds true. Store-bought ketchup costs more per ounce than the tomatoes, vinegar, and spices needed to make 5 times the amount at home. Salad dressings combine cream, herbs, and vinegar into flavorful accompaniments that enhance fresh vegetables while costing pennies compared to commercial alternatives that often contain artificial flavors and unnecessary additives. Ketchup made from garden tomatoes provides superior taste, while eliminating ongoing expenses for condiments that families use regularly throughout the year. Children participate in making these staples, learning valuable skills while understanding how simple ingredients combine to create complex flavors that enhance everyday meals. The knowledge ensures families maintain food independence while controlling ingredients and avoiding artificial additives that may cause health concerns. Bulk preparation during appropriate seasons provides year-round supplies while taking advantage of peak ingredient availability and lowest costs for essential raw materials that support family cooking throughout changing seasons. In the end, the Amish remind us that feeding a large family doesn't have to drain the wallet. It's about resourcefulness, tradition, and making the most of what you already have. With these simple tricks, every meal becomes both affordable and nourishing. Their way proves that good food and strong families are built on timeless habits, not expensive solutions.